The year was 1964, and the Temptations had recorded what would become their first #1 single on the U.S. pop charts. My Girl was written and produced by Smokey Robinson and Ronald White of the Miracles for Motown Records' Gordy label. The song marked the debut of David Ruffin on lead vocals. Of course, it's not just the notes, it's also the steps that everybody remembers from that song and that video. The National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame is hosting a 55th anniversary celebration for My Girl on December 13th at Burt's in Detroit's Eastern Market District. The event will feature Temptations music and memorabilia. Here to tell us more are Lamont Robinson, he is the founder of the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, and Cheryl Ruffin Robinson, who is the daughter of David Ruffin. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
us. If you don't get chills when you watch that video, I think you are not from Detroit. You might not even be American, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the 55th anniversary of that song and how we are going to celebrate it.
Well, we're going to celebrate one of the most iconic songs in music history, the Temptations, who I think is the greatest male group of all times.
Yeah.
And we just thought it was real cool to be able to celebrate the 55th year. They were inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame in 2013. And of course, my wife is the oldest daughter of David Ruffin. And we kind of kicked it around and talked about it with some other members, original members, children of the Temptations. And we said, okay, let's celebrate the 55th year. So here we go.
Yeah. So now, do you remember this song when your dad was performing it?
I remember. It was recorded in '64. And as a matter of fact, I was 4 years old at the time.
Okay,
and while he was recording it, I was in the studio on a stool.
Wow.
My mom dressed me up in yellow and white, this little dress, and little pigtails, and he threw, I got the month of May in the song because my birthday is in May.
Oh, because that's...
So nobody knew that.
Look at that, wow.
And people thought he was singing to a woman, but he was singing to his daughter.
He was singing to his daughter, which is way more important. Do you remember if they knew when they were recording this how big of a deal it would be, how much it would...
I don't think they had an idea.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can go to any country and two things outside the United States, they understand the word money in English and My Girl. You can hear them singing it. And, you know, it's just great. It just went on and on. You know, you put it on today and it sounded like it was just yesterday. And Burt's Entertainment Center said, hey, we got together and said, look, let's just do a big celebration. And Temptations is just great. I mean, do it here in Detroit, where it all started, Motown Records, which is obviously the greatest record company to me in the world, and had the greatest artists in the Temptations. So we're looking forward to it. We're gonna have some memorabilia I've collected throughout the years, the Ruffin family. We're gonna put out some things of their dad, one of his coats, on his jacket. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Start time.
Right.
Start time 8 o'clock.
So when you think back to that time and the years after it, which is when the group really blew up after this song, what do you remember from being a kid in the middle of all of that?
His performances.
Yeah.
His performances, even growing up and seeing him every day. Watching him perform, I'll be looking around at the audience because I'm excited, so I'm looking at their excitement.
Right.
So it was a life experience.
Just great. I mean, you had 5 guys over 6 foot tall.
Right.
Nice looking guys, look like basketball players. And with the precision moving of the Temptations and their style, you know, after, you know, it started in the 1960s, they emulated most groups today, and people still emulate the Temptations.
Sure.
That just lets you know the impact of that group and Motown. So, you know, hat go off to the Temptations and David Ruffin. And, you know, one of the good things that has happened in the course that with her dad, he's had 2 streets.
I was going to say, Parkside,
Parkside.
Where you lived, right?
Right, where they lived at. And then also, 3 weeks ago, we were in Meridian, Mississippi, where he's from.
Okay.
Why not? But Meridian is part of it. And we talked to the city, and we just got back from there, and they named the street after him, right by Temple Theater, where he used to sing it as a child. And it's just great. This Temptation reunion, it was recorded December 21st. 1964. Then it really hit in 65, January 65, and became a smash, and we're loving it. So we're going to be at Burt's at 8 o'clock. The doors open up until, and we're going to play other music, but every other song will be a Temptation song.
There
through
you
the
go.
anthology. So we're going to have a great time, great time.
And one other thing, that song was voted into the Library of Congress
Oh, it was?
in
Okay.
2018.
Yeah. Wow. That's important
Yeah.
to remember it. Tell us more about your effort with the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. You've been here before talking about
Right, exactly.
building it up and getting it to the place where you think it ought to be.
Yeah, well, you know, it's going to be a state-of-the-art, 50,000 square feet. We're talking with some developers now. We've had 8 successful induction ceremonies. 5 of them have been right here in Detroit. The last one was June 13th. Mary Wilson from the Supremes is our host. And we're just putting everything together, and we're going to be making a huge announcement pretty soon. But we're looking forward to putting this together to be able to tell the story of the full history of rhythm and blues music, and also the gospel, you know, and it's going to be great. We added a lot of things since I've moved from Cleveland to here in the last 5 years, but I think Detroit is the music capital of the world.
Yeah, we do too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Those of us who grew up here always talk about that. Talk about the sort of influences we see now of that kind of music on what people listen to now. I tell my kids all the time that the stuff they listen to, I'm like, this comes from somewhere.
Right.
Can't get them to listen to Motown all the time, though.
Well, you know, the influence is just heavy. I mean, it started back with the African beat drum in the 1800s and worked its way up. But rhythm and blues music has inspired all genres of music.
Right.
I mean,
Country,
all genres of music.
rock.
I mean, you name it, it comes from there. You can ask the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, and they all give credit to the rhythm and blues artists. And I know she has some stories about
Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart was influenced by her dad.
Came to see and learn from your dad.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know, you figure the Beatles did Please Mr. Postman.
Yeah.
You know, so the influence of music, African American music, R&B, gospel, jazz. I mean, Aretha Franklin now is seen as the greatest singer of all times to me, you know, and we're just very happy. And then Billboard named David Ruffin the 50th greatest singer of all time. So all that came out of that little house on West Grand Boulevard. So hats go off to Motown.
Yeah, yeah. What else do you remember from growing up about the Temptations and how big a deal that was?
Going to concerts, picnics, family gatherings at different houses, like Otis. I grew up with Otis kids, not Otis, well, yeah, Lamont, he since passed, and Melvin's children. I'm friends with all of them, Paul Jr., all of them.
Yeah.
And then they have the great play on Broadway now, Temptations.
The Temptations, right?
Yeah, Broadway.
Yeah.
So, you know, hats
Got
go
a whole
off to
new
Otis Redding.
generation.
Oh, yeah, a whole new generation.
Experiencing that.
Temptation fans, yeah. So they have been celebrated, and like I said, those 5 tall guys look like basketball players, really set the tone for what's going on today. And again, you know, hats go off to Motown and everything they're doing. You know, they build that.
I was going to say, that museum is about to change quite a bit too. Is there going to be a lot of crossover between your museum and theirs?
Well, you know, they'll both be in the same area. You know, my hat goes off to Motown. Robin Terry's doing a fantastic job down there. You know, they're about halfway in raising the $50 million. And the 60th anniversary we attended, which was just marvelous. And Mr. Gordy came in town, and they had a 3-day celebration. So, you know, I applaud them. And, you know, to have both museums in the same city, and then right up the road, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, you got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So when you come into this region,
it's about music.
It's about music. Yeah. And then we got Chicago too, so let's not leave Chicago out. You know, everything that's going on up there. So we're quite happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you for the 55th anniversary.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being
All right.
here.
Thanks.